According to a recent Gallup poll, after the economy, the second biggest issue concerning Americans is immigration. And Pew Research Center found that 51% of voters classify it a, quote, very big problem. Left or right, Fox News or CNN, you've seen the footage. Large swaths of migrants, in numbers we've never seen before, are crossing the border. But if you don't live in Eagle Pass, Texas, or even San Diego, California, what's the problem? How does it affect you, and why should you care about it? This is Election Facts for the Undecided Voter. Part 1, Immigration. And I'm about to give you 3 reasons why this issue should matter to you. Number 1, domestic crime. Every crime committed by an illegal migrant is one that never should have happened, like the brutal attack and murder of a 12-year-old girl in Houston.
She was preyed on by 2 illegal Venezuelan immigrants. She was strangled to death. She had no clothing from the waist down. Her hands and her ankles were tied and thrown under the bridge of water like she was nothing but garbage.
New numbers from ICE show that over 600,000 migrants that were released into the U.S. illegally have criminal records. That includes murderers. Statistically, sure, the chance that you'll be a victim of an individual attack by an illegal migrant remains minimal. But it's more than just one-offs. Tren de Aragua, a Venezuelan gang that began in prisons there, has spread into the United States at a terrifying rate, spreading so far as Wisconsin.
Police tell us all 10 here are members of Tren de Aragua.
De Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
Venezuelan gang members in the city.
Gang members have taken over U.S. apartment buildings, they're trafficking drugs, they've robbed small businesses, they've attacked NYPD officers, and have been given the green light from their leaders to shoot at American police officers.
U.S. Border Patrol Chief Jason Owens issued a warning in early April. Watch out for this gang known for murder, drug trafficking, sex crimes, extortion, and other violent acts.
The second reason why you should care about illegal immigration, the economic cost. With immigration being the second highest issue plaguing the minds of U.S. voters, the economy is by far the first one. But the 2 issues actually are linked. A quick Google search and you'll find left-of-center media outlets telling you the influx of millions is a good thing for our economy. But what are the facts? Well, in September, Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, said that the massive influx of migrants has contributed to today's rising unemployment rate.
There's been quite an influx across the borders, and that has actually been one of the things that's allowed unemployment rate to rise.
But even if you have a steady job and you're not worried about unemployment, the taxes you will pay to support our new neighbors may shock you. According to testimony given to the House of Representatives Budget Committee, 60% of illegal migrants use one or more U.S. welfare program and received $42 billion of welfare assistance in 2021, which was before the largest influx of migrants arrived. Illegal migrants cost public schools $68 billion per year. Again, that was before the current surge, and they're costing the nation's public health system over $7 billion per year. Migrants do pay some taxes, about $26 billion in 2019, but that number leaves most of the responsibility up to you, the taxpayer. Finally, reason number 3, national security. A huge number of migrants crossing illegally are coming from countries that are hostile to the United States, like China, Russia, and Venezuela.
New internal CBP data would show something remarkable. More Chinese nationals have been crossing here in the San Diego sector in recent months than Mexican nationals.
In 2021, Border Patrol says it encountered 144,000 migrants from hostile nations. So far this year, that number has quadrupled to 643,000. 250 migrants who were on the terror watch list were encountered by agents, with 99 of them being released onto our streets. The Iranian government has set up a beachhead off the coast of Venezuela, where they're recruiting and training Venezuelan gangs. These gangs, like the one I told you about earlier, are smuggling weapons across the border, and a leaked U.S. Army report details how Tren de Aragua members have been caught taking photos, videos, and even trying to enter U.S. military bases. So, if you've been convinced that illegal immigration is not just an issue for border states, which candidate can you rely on to squash the problem? Just a few weeks ago, during her second trip to the border since 2021, Kamala said that she's all about tougher border security.
The United States is a sovereign nation. And I believe we have a duty to set rules at our border and to enforce them. And I take that responsibility very seriously.
But she and Biden repealed several Trump-era policies that allowed for tough border security on the first day they took office. In 2021, Kamala was named the border czar when the situation began to get out of hand.
And the Biden administration did task Vice President Kamala Harris with the issue of migrant crossings, naming her the so-called border czar.
It's a title her and her supporters deny today, but the facts show, no matter what title you want to use, that Biden did assign her to oversee the border crisis and stem the migrant flow.
She's the most qualified person to do it, to lead our efforts with Mexico and the Northern Triangle, stemming the movement of so many folks stemming the migration to our southern border.
Back then, because of the responsibility Biden gave her, Kamala received a lot of pushback for visiting Central America to investigate the root causes of the problem, but not visiting the actual border where it was taking place.
This whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
After the pushback, Kamala did visit the border in 2021, but after her visit, numbers across the border continued to grow, with those coming into America even thanking her and Biden's administration for making it all so easy.
I love you, Joe Biden. Thank you for everything, Joe Biden.
And when Texas politicians tried to take matters into their own hands by using the state's National Guard to install wire fencing along the border to slow down the massive influx, the Biden-Harris administration ordered federal Border Patrol agents to cut that wire so that the migrants could enter. Now let's take a look at the other side. President Trump devoted most of his 4 years in office to border security.
And the wall is being built. It's going up rapidly. And we think by the end of next year, which will be sometime right after the election, actually, but we think we're going to have close to 500 miles of wall, which will be complete.
And he has based the vast majority of his campaign around it as well.
On day one, I will seal the border, stop the migrant invasion, and we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. We have no choice.
His opponents say he's the one responsible for killing a border bill earlier this year, urging Republicans not to pass it, all in an effort to keep the border situation dire and his campaign relevant. But several Republicans, from Utah's conservative Mike Lee to the more moderate Marco Rubio, also blasted it for not going far enough to protect America. While the bill did provide $20 billion for government resources to address illegal immigration, 87% of the funds were earmarked for other non-related purposes, like supporting Ukraine. The bill would have required the administration to close the border if there were more than 8,500 encounters on one single day, a number many Republicans felt was way too high. Now you know the facts, it's time for you to decide.